Hi, this is Wes Fryer. It is April the 18th, 2022, and I'm here in my classroom at Cassidy School, and I want to share 15 things that I absolutely love about my classroom and my teaching situation this year here at Cassidy. All right, well, I'll preface this by saying I am not sharing this in any way to be bragging about the situation that I am in, but I am in one of pretty much for sure the best teaching situations that I have been in ever. I've been in a lot of different teaching situations. I've been teaching since 1995 and it's 2022, so that's a few years. I've done some things kind of in between. I haven't been a classroom teacher, every one of those years. But the last 7 years I've been here at Cassidy School. I was the technology director for 4 years, and the last 3 years I've had the opportunity to teach media literacy and to teach all of our 5th and 6th grade students in our middle division or our middle school. And we have grades 5 through 8 here in what we call the middle division. And so I'm just gonna kind of run through these and I'll shoot some little video to overlay a little bit, but these are things that I absolutely love. Number one, writable white space. I've got this great whiteboard in the front of my room. I got a whiteboard in the back. I love being able to have that whiteboard space, being able to write on it myself, being able to have my students, write on it. We use our boards all the time, and I use electronic screens. We have a projector, and we use Jamboards, and we use Google Slides, and all these different things. But being able to have writable space is a big deal. Next, trusted curricular autonomy. This is huge. So I've had the opportunity the last 3 years to really reimagine what this computer class includes and focuses on. When I inherited this class, it was predominantly keyboarding and Google applications, and I have made this class into I think quite a bit more. We end up doing some coding and computer science and computational thinking, but also we do a lot of multimedia. We do media literacy. This whole SIFT framework that I have a poster about behind me is my favorite unit with my 6th graders. We do a family oral history project, which I just love, but diving into the Apollo moon landings and conspiracy theories and using this SIFT web literacy framework, which is, stop, identify, investigate the source, find trusted coverage, trace to the original SIFT. I love this, and it's so important. And so the opportunity to be able to reimagine what our curriculum needs to be, and then being trusted to be able to do that, and then to, be able to share that curriculum with students has just been great. Student Chromebook. So we are one-to-one Chromebook. We've got Dell 11-inch Chromebooks, and all of our middle school teachers have a Chromebook like the students. We have a student device. This is huge because, number one, sometimes things look a little different. We use MacBook Airs as our primary teacher device, but things can function differently on the Chromebook. It's really handy to have this out in class. I was sketchnoting today, actually in class, just like my students were, and I was using the same stylus that they were. I get to vet my lessons and make sure they all work as they should. So that is really key, and I would recommend that anybody who's in a one-to-one learning environment where every student has a device, the teachers are given and trusted to have a device as well. It's also a backup because sometimes things will happen, and I've always got my Chromebook if I'm not using it, or even if I am and I want to just hand it to a student. That's really great. I have a second TV screen. Now, this is actually a television that I brought from home. My main projector is the largest display screen that we have. But for the last 2 years, I've been using 2 screens in my room, and I love that. I always have a slideshow of the outline of what we're doing for the day, and I love to have that up here, and I can keep that up here, but then I am able to use my main screen to show content, show videos, be able to interact with my other screen. But I have a program, which I didn't put on here, I guess, but called Air Server, and that allows for either Apple devices or Chrome devices in the case of Chrome, to cast up to the screen. And so I can have any of my students cast or share their screen right up here to my television or here to my computer or my projector, which I'm connected to with Apple TV, which I'll talk about. Anyway, that is just fantastic. And, I think that we need to be exploring the use of multiple screens in the classroom. And if you're not testing that with teachers in your school or your school district, I think it's a good thing to test because, yes, we love, and I love having a main large projection area, whether that is a projector as I have with a drop-down screen or a large format television, but it can really be handy to have more than one screen. One time I did a series of workshops up in Montana at the College of Education in Missoula. We had like 4 screens. It was amazing. Very, very unusual. And typically I think in classrooms we just see one projection device, but I'm fortunate to be able to have a second. I have decorated this room with my own posters. And I love that. I've taught undergraduate and graduate classes at the university, and a lot of times in university, but also maybe in high schools, or could be middle school too. It just depends. We have to share spaces. We don't have our classroom. And so you're much more limited on how you can personalize your room. Well, I've got all of my space stuff and my, Air Force Academy and ISS, International Space Station stuff. I've got lots of New Zealand posters, over here. I've got I'll talk about it in a minute, my Waldseemüller map and my national parks and, my Star Wars and movie posters. I love it. I love creating an environment for students that feels different, and I think it reflects some aspects of my personality. And I think that's really a big deal, to be able to own your space and to be able to project aspirationally who you see yourself and the kinds of things we're passionate about as teachers, and being able to craft that space. In addition to that, I turned on all my lights, which I kind of never have my overhead fluorescent lights on, but I've got some like Christmas lights, but they're white. So I've got some white lights in the room, and I've got a lamp, and creating some ambiance in addition with posters with lights is really a big deal. Okay, let's talk about the Waldseemüller map. So I'll show this. I love this map. This is the 1507 Waldseemüller map. It was actually the first map to ever show first widely distributed map in Europe to show the entire hemisphere of North and South America, the Western Hemisphere, surrounded by water. And there's a wonderful book by Toby Lester called The Fourth Part of the World. And I've heard Toby speak. I learned about this actually at a Google Geo Institute that was in Lewiston, Maine, like 10 years ago or whatever. And so anyway, I was able to get this blown up on some vinyl. It's owned by the Library of Congress. It's the most expensive thing the Library of Congress ever purchased. They paid $10 million for it. And it's called America's Birth Certificate because it's based on the voyages of Amerigo Vespucci, and on South America, the word America appears, and this is why we call the Americas and not the Columbias or something else. And so anyway, I just love to have this up. I do talk about it periodically with my students. Again, it's like creating some of the classroom atmosphere that I want. I love being able to have that. I have a box of mice in my room. I'm not talking about, mice that are alive. I'm talking about computer mice. And using especially Minecraft, as we do with our Chromebooks, but also even when we use our Mac laptops, I'll talk about in a minute, it is really handy to be able to have a 2-button mouse. And I love the fact that I have those. My kids can use them. They turn them back in at the end of the class. But that is really an excellent and wonderful thing. I'm blessed to have a great view from my classroom. I'll go ahead and open up the windows to show this view and maybe show some other pictures I've taken, in the mornings and stuff. But I think this is the prettiest classroom in our entire campus. I'm up on the 2nd floor of our building overlooking the lake. We're here in Oklahoma City, in central Oklahoma, and it is just a very beautiful view, and it's something that I not only enjoy, my advisory students enjoy. We have a table, that's right there by the windows that a lot of times my kids will play chess or study, when they're self-selecting some places to see. And that actually takes me to chess sets. So my wife actually had a whole lot of chess sets that she had purchased, and actually when she came to Cassidy brought those over, and I've been fortunate this year to be able to utilize like 5 or 6 of those. I love having chess sets out, and when my students don't have homework to work on in advisory at the end of the day, and then sometimes during breaks when I'm here, students will come in and play chess, and I love that, and I'll play them at chess. I'm actually not very good at chess. We've got some kids that are excellent, but that is just an excellent dynamic, and just having the chess sets and having them set up has been a wonderful, wonderful thing as a 6th grade advisor this year. I have flexible seating. So one of the best things that happened to this room is used to be our language lab, and there were fixed study carrels that were literally, like bolted in place. You couldn't move them because they were all not only electrically wired, but also with internet cabling. The desks could not be moved. And I've taught plenty of classes in a fixed computer lab setting like that. And it's great to have reliable internet and reliable computers, but I love to have flexible seating. And so sometimes we'll push the desks back. Now that COVID is winding down, we don't have to maintain the social distancing like we have for the last couple years. It really is wonderful to have these flexible desks that we can push together. We can create tables, we can, make a big circle. It's just a wonderful thing. Apple TV. So I have an Apple TV that's actually in the back of my room connected with HDMI to my projector, and that is how I project my laptop screen to students. Our fiber network got completely upgraded, I think 2 summers ago, and it's robust, it's fast. Fast internet is actually a huge thing that I just kind of take for granted here, which is wonderful because I've taught in plenty of places where the internet was not as fast and not as reliable, and the Apple TV is super reliable. Every once in a while, I will need to disconnect and reconnect because we'll have a little buffering issue, but it's very rare. And it's just so reliable. It works great to show video, to show slides. And like I said, I'm using Air Server software on my computer. So when I'm connected to my Apple TV, I can be anywhere in my room. And then when I need students to share their Chromebook, they're able to cast, and I can even have multiple kids cast to that projector or to this television, and then I can select which screen I want to make full screen. I can disconnect, students. It is just really, really fantastic, and I love being able to have that reliable wireless display technology that allows me to be so flexible in the room as I am teaching. Green screen. So this is a unique part of my room. I asked our maintenance department, maybe the first year I was here, if they could paint with green screen paint. They were using it over in our high school, our upper division, to paint some areas in a computer lab. And I was like, you got some extra paint? I'd love to have a green screen. So this area is painted, and periodically students will use it to create media projects. And I love having a space that students can use to create media, to show what they know with media, and being able to have that green screen is just fantastic. So we kind of keep that area clear, so if students need to move in there. Last year we had middle schoolers, kind of the leaders, kind of like student council, but they're called prefects here, kind of like Harry Potter. And they were making like a news show periodically, and so they would come in here and shoot that, and they could change what they had in the background, and it was just great. A popcorn machine. So I don't do this all the time, but I love being able to make popcorn periodically for students. Sometimes we do this on Fridays. I like to have a popcorn movie day when students have created their own movies, and then we watch those and we give feedback to each other. Not everybody can have popcorn. There's allergies, but we really haven't run into that. More, it's just some kids, aren't big fans of popcorn. We don't do butter. I have an air popper. But that's been fun. I mean, and the whole room smells like popcorn, right? On a popcorn day, and kids are excited. It doesn't cost very much. I just, go to Walmart and pick up some popcorn and, have some bowls. I've had to make sure that I, fill those, and we, even in not a COVID time, that's probably a good thing to not have everybody just, reaching in the same bowl. But it has worked out great, and I really love being able to do that and have that popcorn available. I love having a laptop cart. So when we move the study carrels out of this room and put flexible furniture in here, we also purchased MacBook Air laptops, and so we're able to use those for software that we can't run on our Chromebooks. Those get borrowed sometimes by other classes, especially in the makerspace when they're doing some kind of software program, like some of the robotic stuff that they're doing, or some of the 3D printing requires some different software, some specialized software. It's not all web-based. It's just also great to have that as a backup. I'm really, really fortunate to be able to have those. We continue to have an issue with our Chromebooks and Minecraft, where sometimes it'll go in we call it the loop, and kids have to power wash in order to get Minecraft to work. Well, we can just grab one of those computers. We have adapters for the USB-A plug-in, which the mice plug in with that, and it's just really, really wonderful to have that readily accessible whenever we need them. And then the last thing I'd say is great colleagues. There is no substitute for working with great people. Having a supportive administration, but having colleagues that you really enjoy going to school with, teaching with. I love walking to and from our chapel here in the middle school this year, and last year too. We switched up schedules. High school used to start with chapel, now middle school does. I love starting the day that way, and I love walking over there with the kids, walking back with colleagues. It's one of the most important times where I actually get to connect, and it's easy to sort of be in your room and close your door, especially because I teach the special classes that provide coverage for our regular 6th grade teachers, and that's when they meet as a team. And so I almost never get to meet with them at the regular weekly team meetings, but I do get to walk to chapel. I do get to be out, during our morning break time, and I get chances to connect, and we really, have some wonderful teachers here, and that makes all the difference. So, perhaps this is inspiring for you if you're an administrator thinking about how to create great classroom spaces and how to empower your teachers. I feel incredibly empowered, thankful, and fortunate here at Cassidy School to have been able to be here for 7 years, but especially the last 3 years as a classroom teacher. And I'm looking forward this summer actually to moving to North Carolina and teaching middle school computer science and media literacy at the Providence Day School. And I'm excited about the opportunities that will be provided there. So if you want to connect with me, you can visit my website, westfryer.com. I have a variety of different places that I share content, but my westfryer.com is where I've kind of got them all linked up, and you can always find me on Twitter and reach out and let me know if you watch this, or you can leave a comment on this YouTube channel. Thanks. Have a great day.